Okay, it is time to take the heads off of this thing. 4.7 liter Chrysler V8. If you've ever had to pull the fan out of this thing, or take the water pump out, or do anything in front of this motor with this fan shroud on, well, I suggest that you do this. Check it out. It's next to impossible to get that fan out of there, or the water pump or anything in front of that motor with these fan shrouds on. So you try to take the fan shroud off, but you can't get the fan shroud off because the fan is still there. So you can't get the fan out. It's a real bugger to get it out the top or the bottom with the fan shroud on. So what I do is I like to cut the tops off like that. So I just took a multi-tool and cut it off, and then I will make a fastening system where this will just fasten right back on, just like that. So anyway, these got to come off. It's a must. See, now look, now you can get the fan, you can get all the bolts, you can get this radiator out, but you can't take the radiator out with the fan on. You can't get the fan off with the radiator shroud on. It's a catch-22. So this is why I always cut these off, so that you can get at it. The next thing we're probably going to be doing, obviously we're going to be taking all of this stuff off the front. I'm going to be draining the block, and the only real way that I can drain the block, because I don't know where the block drains are on these ones, probably you can't get to it anyway. So I'll just get a pan under there, drop the lower radiator hose, maybe pop the thermostat housing off, and just let the block drain out. Then of course, this really can only be unbolted. It really can't move anywhere. So you got to be careful not to pinch these old hoses if your AC still works. Alternator's got to come out, valve cover's got to come out, plenum's got to come out, battery's got to come out, battery box got to come out, air box has got to come out. It's going to be a fiasco. These are not easy to do. So let's get started. Start with the fan. And you should always start out every project, disconnect the battery. This fan hasn't been off, it probably is going to be really hard to get off. Had to modify it. These wrenches are trash. They're just stamped cheap steel. If you can see, this one here is bent out this way, so it doesn't work anymore. It worked maybe one time. That was it. Get one use out of them. Can you hold that for me? Will I pull on this? No? All right. Done. Not too bad. It's not cracking. Not checking, not fraying. Good enough to reuse. $15, $14. I know what you're thinking. My answer is, if I already have this, why do I need to go buy a Milwaukee cordless? Somebody's had that off before. Because it does not have the factory hose clamp, and it's got a washer where there generally is no washer. Oops. Let's get something to catch the water. This thing is gonna make water, Miss Daisy. Typical 195. We'll boil it, see if it works correctly. If it doesn't open all the way, we'll replace it. But I have don't know if you can see that down there, but there's a little nut that needs to be taken off, and the battery acid has gotten to it and shrunk the size of it. So I got to get a socket, probably just pound it over the top of it. Normally it's a 10. I'm going to try a 9. 5/16 is too small, so it's in between an 8 and a 9 and a 10, somewhere right around in there. But I got to get that out. Yeah. Yeah, as soon as the GoPro cuts out, radiator says, oh yeah, okay, I'll come out now. So yeah, these things are quite wedged in here, so it's not easy to get these radiators in and out, or the shroud, or anything else. But I definitely need to do that so that when this is not in the way, when I go to time this thing, I can actually see what's going on and get my hands in here. I can get this out without destroying the radiator. I can put the puller on, give me room to work. So, yeah, you gotta pull a bunch of stuff apart. Take all this off, gotta unhook your condenser. Yeah, no good. But, okay, so now we're gonna get that damper. Dare I say it's a harmonic balancer, damper, pulley. Okay, let's get on. It's got a slight groove, but nothing too bad. Don't slow down now. Except for that one. Gross. Most of the time, these are really worn out right here, these guides, and they'll make noise once these guides are all chewed up and worn down. That one looks like it could be worn down. Nice, put a nice little path in there. Yeah, so we're gonna get all new timing, all that's gonna get replaced. But next, maybe we go, I guess the only thing we can start on now are the exhaust manifolds, and I am not gonna be pleased to get to those. Well, alrighty. Okay, I'm back after lunch. Took a long lunch, took a break from this beast. So the next thing we gotta do is we gotta get to those manifolds back there somehow. Normally what I do is I just take the two bolts off the Y pipe where the collector is, and I leave the manifold on. It makes it a little bit heavier, but it's only 2 bolts versus trying to snap off the other studs on the intake or the exhaust manifold. They're still not easy to get to from underneath, but that's what I gotta go do, and same with the other side over there. So maybe I can show you where they're at. And I'm also going to have to jack this thing up in order to get to them. But there they are. Way up there. It's dark. It's dark up in there. Yeah. Okie doke. Alright, so I just spent a heck of a lot of time trying to get the 2 Y pipe or the 4 Y pipe exhaust manifold bolts out. Had to cut one. I was able to get a cutting wheel in there and just cut one because it just was not cooperating. And on this side we have to take the starter out, and that way I can get to the bolts, and they were able to come out with the impact. So, but I'm going to show you guys a little trick of what I do when I go to put these things in. I do not use nuts on the back sides of these manifolds. I know why they do it, but it's just ridiculous. Especially if you know you're going to be into this in a couple of years, because it's a 4.7. Yeah, don't do it. Put some inserts into the manifolds, threaded inserts. Put some bolts in there, some stainless. They don't rust, they don't corrode, and they won't come out, or they won't come out by themselves. They will come out very easily when you get a nut and a bolt or a wrench on them. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so actually both sides are ready to come off. I don't know if I've got enough steam. I've been chugging along on this thing all day, and I'm an old man. Old man with no teeth. Okay, well, I will take one off and I will turn this thing back on. Anyway, here we go. Let's have some fun. So, all of those are loose. At some point in time, they changed these from aluminum to plastic. Probably in like 2002, 2003, somewhere right around in there. We just keep these wires out of the way, I will be happy. Here's the bolt remover 3000. That's a good way to break head. Start getting in the way. Alright, here's where I break my back. I'm trying to pull that head out of there with that exhaust manifold on. Alright, I was afraid of this. It's not a cracked head, but it is a seat falling out. Kind of famous for these things. I don't know if you can see it. You see how that valve seat's falling out? Darn it. That means I got to get another head, or I got to have these heads redone. And that blows. That really blows. Crikey. I wonder if that valve's bent too. But really bad. That makes me sad. Really bad. Make me sad. Okay, let's. Oh, look at that. You know, there is no ridge whatsoever. And there's still some crosshatch there. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, crosshatch. Oh, yeah, you can see where the valve. Let me get a pointer. See, now normally you would hear, and you would hear, stop, help me, all that kind of stuff, all those noises. But anyway, you see that right there? That's where the valve, the piston was coming in contact with the valve, making that ticking noise. Tick, 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 tick. Really bad. Okay. Did I say that's really bad? Yeah, just so you know, it is really bad. All right, let's pull a head gasket and see what's going on here. Come on out. Multi-layer steel. And of course, you know, other than ripping it apart to take it apart, doesn't look so bad. I've gotten Chinese ones that I've put in, and around the cooling areas was all rotten. Even, I mean, it's supposed to be stainless right there, but it was rotten after like 2 years. And then the head gasket cut loose and said, I need another one. Hopefully these cheap Chinese ones I'm putting on aren't going to do the same thing. So that's, well, that piston's not moving around, and it didn't come into a, you know, a jaw breaking stop, you know, so it doesn't look like the piston's cracked or anything like that. I'll go through it a little bit more with light and all that good stuff, but I need to pop this other head off. So heads are off. So this side has a dropped intake valve seat, Not a bad one, not as bad as I've seen, but if it's out, it's bad. Regardless of how far it fell out, regardless if it bent the valve and broke to pieces and started smashing everything in sight, it's bad. So I'm done for the night. It's getting dark. I'm gonna vacuum this thing out tomorrow and probably clean it out, and then see, clean the rest of this off, and then see where my attitude is after that. So right now I'm just gonna close this thing up, call it good for the night, pick up all the tools, put them away, throw the head gaskets away, all that good stuff. Right here's the other head. Looks like we have an exhaust valve open and an intake valve opening there. This one looks like it's got an exhaust valve just barely opening up right here. And the intake, obviously with the seat falling out of it. Can you see it? Can you see it? Just take a look at it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Right there. Bad seat. And I was hearing a tap, 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 but I was assuming that that was the valve lash adjusters, that these things are famous for clicking and clacking and never shutting the hell up. Be quiet. Oh, goodness. Well, now my dilemma is, do I send them to a machine shop and have them magnafluxed and spend money on whether the heads are any good or not? I mean, the engine's got too many miles on it to spend too much money on it. Even at the price I got it, there is a limit to how much money you want to put into these things, and time. Okie doke. All right, I'm not happy. I think I'm gonna call this a video. Yeah, so the heads are off. Bad things are happening. That's how it goes. Peace.